Hey guys, a lot of our listeners and people that watch our channel have been asking about the comparative differences between Dominoes and Biscuits. Stay tuned, we'll show you the answer. So if we're in the wood shop and we're talking about biscuits, we're not talking about gravy and scrambled eggs to go with it. We're talking about joinery, a biscuit joint, and we're going to talk about a domino joint as well. Both good, viable applications of technology to help add one piece to another. I'm going to start out with a biscuit joiner because that's the one that more people are probably familiar with. And it's this little wafer of wood, compressed, dehydrated European beech usually. Grain's running this way across it, so when you put it in your joint, it's not going across the grain. What it's designed to do is there's a cutter that's called a biscuit cutter, obviously. It goes in here and it makes this little slot in your piece of wood that just happens to contain that biscuit real nice. And what we do with the biscuit cutter is we'll mark where we want that slot to be in our wood, and we'll cut a corresponding piece on the opposite side as well. So they'll both have that biscuit joint in them. Then when we go to glue this together, what happens is that biscuit fits in there and it causes us to have the vertical alignment here for our joint. Notice this cannot go up and down per se. It stays real flat. So what it does is it makes sure that our reference surface, which is always the top of our board, lines up perfectly. If there were not a biscuit in there, when we go to glue this together, it may move a little bit. We don't want that movement, so we drop a biscuit in there like that, holds that nice vertical. The advantage of using biscuits, and why I like to use them for panel glue-ups in particular, is if I have to move my wood a little back and forth to get my fit exactly the way I want it, or if I'm going to line up a piece of grain the way I want it, I've got room to move it back and forth along the grain. I don't have the opportunity to move it in the horizontal here, so my top panel, my panel is always going to stay nice and flat. So that's the advantage of the biscuit and why I pretty much always use them for my panel glue-ups and tabletop glue-ups, because I want to have that flexibility going back and forth along that grain. What I don't want is the flexibility going up and down. So what a domino joiner is, and it's kind of the more advanced version of the biscuit. This is what a domino is. Called a domino, I guess, because it's kind of shaped like one. And there's a specific cutter for this, just as there is a specific tool that you can get for the biscuits. And I've got a Porter cable that I really like for cutting the biscuits. I think retail now they're somewhere in the neighborhood of $270, $280. Does a great job. There's a specific tool for the domino as well, put out by Festool, and they're upwards of $1,300 piece to get set up in one of those. But the advantage that it has is, one, it cuts a hole this shape by having a cutter that goes in there, and it's like almost like an auger bit, only it oscillates back and forth. So it'll go ahead and it'll cut that hole that this domino will fit into. And it's real snug in there. There's not much movement side to side at all, very little. So what you can't have when you do dominoes is you can't have a situation where, like on the biscuits, you could push it back and forth on the grain. The domino won't do that. There is a setup on the domino cutter that'll cut that hole just a little bit long so you can have just a touch of wiggle room in there, but it's a precision tool. Why would you take the precision out of the equation? I very seldom do. I normally leave it in there so I get it nice and tight. The advantage that the domino has, and why it's called a floating tenon, is once it goes in there, and you use your reference again as a top, once you get that in there, look at that alignment. That is right smack on the money. You almost can't hardly feel where that joint is, and there's no margin for error in it. It does not move up and down. It does not move back and forth. It is genuine tight. So why I use it in this application is this is a table leg, and this is a table apron. A real contemporary style, so I wanted all the surfaces to be perfectly flat. I don't want like a 1/4-inch reveal or a shadow line on there. So by putting that domino in there with as precision a cut as that makes, I get my alignment perfect on my face and perfect on my top. It does not move. There's no movement in there at all. And once I put the glue to that and put it together, put the clamps on it, it's going to stay in there, and I'm going to get that perfect an alignment on my piece before I even start sanding. So the Domino does a great job for that application. One thing I don't like to do is I don't like to use the Domino for doing a panel glue up, just because it's so precise that if you get 5, 6, 7 holes in a line on a long table piece, if you're going from one to another and then coming back down the other side, if I'm off just a little bit on one, my last one that I did is my reference for my next one and down the line. If one of them is off just a little bit because I've got a little burr inside, a little debris in there, then it can throw the rest of them off a little bit. So I normally do Biscuits for panel glue ups. And then I normally use Dominoes when I'm gluing an apron to a leg, or if I'm putting together a face frame, like a door frame, or even if I'm building a big door, I'll use Dominoes for that. A variety of different sizes. The cutter does a great job of putting those together. So there are specific applications for both, is the point. There are times when the use of the Biscuit is the right thing for the application. There are times when the Domino joiner by Festool is the right tool for the application. A little trick that you can capitalize on with your Dominoes is if you do need a little bit of a margin in that side to side, there's a little bit of a peak right here on the top of that Domino. If you take your little block plane and shear a couple thousandths off of that peak, you can get a little wiggle room back and forth in your hole. So you can basically tailor the Domino to suit the hole that you're working with. Both of them hold well. Both of them, obviously, you apply with glue. You put them in clamps with a good amount of pressure. They're going to hold and do real well. So what I recommend is probably a Biscuit joiner first, because I've been using those for years and years and years. I've only in the last 5 years, 6 years been introduced to the Domino. Really love the Domino joiner. Love the Biscuit joiner. They both have good applications for the shop. If you're looking at a budget, you're going to go with the Biscuit joiner first. If you got a little better budget, you might add the Domino into the equation, but go ahead and try that. Go ahead and watch the video that we recently put out that shows how to put the Dominoes in, how to space them out, how to install them, how to glue them up and make a tabletop work. When we go through and do the glue up on this table leg, we'll get that on video for you too, so you can show how to put that Domino into place, glue it into place, and make it do what it's due. So there you got it. The difference between a Biscuit and a Domino, both applications are great for joinery in the shop and adding a floating tenon or floating Biscuit to your work to give it the alignment purposes. It doesn't do much for structure. It serves the function of helping you with your alignment while you're gluing stuff up. So Dominoes, Biscuits, both great tools. Go ahead and use them. There'll be affiliate links listed up above. Go check them out. Go ahead and use them. If you've got any kind of a question on it or comment on it, or if there's something you'd like clarity on, just let us know. We'll be happy to give you back an answer, just like we did for Fred, who asked this question.